Hi, I'm Linda Rios. I'm the instructor for the Nail Technician program at Salon Success Academy in West Covina. Today I'm going to do the practical aspect of the NIC. Hi, we are going to begin with the NIC practical aspect of the Nail Technician program. I'm going to be removing my items from the clean storage container, and I'm going to begin right now. The first things you're going to remove from your kit are going to be your linen, soiled linens, and you're going to place that on the floor, and you're going to remove your trash bag. And you're going to place that on the floor with the label trash facing the inspector. Right now I'm closing the bag as it is our clean storage container, and I'm going to disinfect the table, both tables. You're going to have a manicuring table behind you, and you're going to have your manicuring table that you're working on and your stool. So I'm going to begin with my back counter. This is where you're going to place your universal supplies. I'm flipping the towel over and I'm sanitizing the table. And I'm going to continue with my stool. And I'm going to toss that in the trash. I'm going to place my disinfectant solution on my back counter. I'm going to remove my hand sanitizer. Place it on the counter, and I am going to sanitize my hand before I start removing my first service for my first client. Always remember to open and close the bag, as it is important to be considered your clean container. So now I'm closing my bag. And I'm going to begin to remove my universal supplies, which contains paper towels, additional paper towels. And this is my first aid kit, which is going to include your blood exposure bag inside. That goes on the counter. All the bags that come with your supplies has to be thrown in the trash. This is your disinfectant container. As you can see, my labels are on all four sides, so the inspector can see that it is my items to be disinfectant container. I'm going to place my terry cloth towel at full length. You're going to have a larger paper towel that covers the full length. I'm going to open up a paper towel so I can lay down my items. Even though my table is disinfected, it's wise to set your items on another paper towel. When you get your kit from California Kit Company, you'll have a Ziploc bag labeled Manicure. These are all going to include your multi-use items and your disposable items. And this is the only time that you can have it this way. And this is only for state board preparation purposes only. Other than that, they have to be separate according to state board regulations. So I have Q-tips, an orange wood stick, an emery board, and my buffer. And metal pusher. This is going to get tossed in the bag, in the trash. As long as I do not touch it, I'm fine. So my setup is going to be in the way I'm going to use my bottles. I have my water, my cuticle remover, my cuticle solvent, nail dehydrator, and polish remover. All these are going to be facing the inspector. I have my base coat, my red polish, and my top coat, and extra paper towels. I have my cotton jar marked new, and Q-tips marked new. If I run out of the Q-tips that came in my manicuring supply kit, then I will go into either my Q-tip container or my cotton container. If you do that, you have to sanitize before you open any of those jars. So it's very convenient that you're able to access them outside in your manicuring kit. This manicuring container is just going to be set on the counter, and now you are waiting for further instructions from the inspector, and this is considered your first service. Now we're going to begin the manicure and polish portion of the NIC, and that is going to be 20 minutes. You can bring your sanitizer, hand sanitizer, to your desk. I'm going to sanitize my hands first. Make sure you don't fake it when you're practicing. You really want to sanitize your hands. Now I'm going to sanitize my client's hands. I'm going to begin with filing and shaping her nail. I would not try to do a specific style other than square, and you're going to go corner to center. You don't have to take too much time off on this technique, but you do have to show that you're going corner to center. You can bend your mannequin hand any way you want. It's a flexible, it has flexibility. One of the things that you just want to be concerned about is not being too aggressive with the tips. You do not want your tips to be falling off. If that happens and it falls on the table, just throw it in the trash and keep moving forward. If it falls on the table, stop what you're doing, grab a paper towel, and throw it in the trash. and sanitize your hands. I'm tossing this in the trash. I didn't touch it, so I don't need to sanitize my hands. You're gonna have a full bottle of water. You do not need to fill up your bowl. Make sure you open and close each of your bottles. Very important. I'm going to bend my client's fingers and I'm gonna immerse them, all 5. And that's one of the things you want to make sure that you're doing. You got to make sure that you're doing the thumb as well. You can do that for approximately 5 to 10 seconds. Grab a paper towel, wipe it off. You don't want to soak up your main working area, and then toss that in the trash. One of my suggestions for a cuticle remover is to use your Q-tip. You have an option of making your own Q-tip with a orange wood stick, but I say eliminate a step and use your Q-tips. So you're gonna pour over your bag, close your bottles, and apply to each finger. I'm going to pretty much repeat myself over and over. You do not want to get product. This is considered to be a real client, so you do not want to have your product all over the fingers. When you grab your metal pusher, hold it like a pencil, lay it flat. Don't have it at a 75% angle. Make sure it's pretty much parallel to the floor, and you're going to go counterclockwise on the right side, clockwise on the left, and you're going to do that for each finger. Counterclockwise on the right side, and I'm talking about my right, just so you know. Little circular motions. Remember, the cuticle is on the nail plate, not the eponychium, and that is why you're doing circular motions. And the thumb. Anytime you're going to set your tools down, you want to grab a paper towel. If the paper towel is too big, you can cut it in half. And you'll always want to wipe down both sides, even though you didn't use it. Place it back on your paper towel or a clean SMA. Now I'm going to get the nail dehydrator, and I am going to clean under the free edge. I'm going to do that for all 5. Wipe it down on the top. Throw it in the trash. Grab my nail brush, dip it in the water, and with each nail, I'm going to go down. I'm not going to go up and down because you don't want to splash your face and you don't want splashes everywhere. So the best way to remove is to just go at a downward motion. I'm going to wipe those off. And now I'm going to wipe my brush off before I put it back down on my table. I'm going to toss that in the trash. getting my cuticle remover. Sorry, I jumped ahead of the game. I'm going to get my buffer. And this has a 100 grit and 180 grit. You're going to want to use the 100 grit size. If there's a little bit of a rugged free edge, make sure you buff that off also. You don't want it there when you are polishing your nails. I'm going to toss that. Now I'm going to get my cuticle remover, and I am going to apply my cuticle oil over my trash. Close my bottle, apply my oil, toss it, and just remember, if you're not comfortable with feeling some product on your hand, toss it in the trash. As long as you don't touch the trash, you'll be fine. I'm going to pour the cream on my hands, warm it up, and now I'm going to make sure you don't put too much cream. So I'm going to do circular motions. I'm going to do circular motions on my doll fingertips and the thumb. I'm going to turn her hand and do circular motions in the palm. You have to demonstrate 2 types of massage techniques. And I like to do tap poke-mint because it's very visible as the second. So I do effleurage on the first and tap poke-mint on the second. So now I'm going to cleanse the nail plate. I am going to, because I have lotion in my hands, I'm going to sanitize again. But I'm also going to get a piece of cotton from my jar. And like I said before, if you're going to open your jar, make sure you sanitize your hands before you open your jar. So now I'm going to get my nail dehydrator, which is basically alcohol, which is going to remove the residue of the lotion and the oil for your nail polish procedure. Okay, so now I'm ready for my polishing. Just remember that each coat is just 1. You don't want to double up on the red because you're going to have 5 minutes to remove it after this procedure is done. So I'm going to get my base coat. I like to pick up my client's hand, Some people like to hold the polish in their hand, but I rather have it on the table. Remember not to do really thick coats, but you do have to saturate the whole nail. And just always remember not to scratch up the silicone hand, which is considered to be your real client's hand. And your health and safety is, your main concerns for health and safety is, are you getting product in the hand like primer, like nail dehydrator, polish, gel polish? So those are the concerns for the nail tech program. So I'm going to do one coat of red. So I'm going to get close to the eponychium area, but not on top. Remember, this eponychium area has a little bit of a ledge to it, so get close, but make sure you don't get the polish underneath there. It will be hard to remove when they give you the 5 minutes to remove your nail polish for your next service. So for the NIC procedure, you use the same hand, but it's considered two different clients. Make sure you don't get it on the sidewall. If you do, you'll have to remove it. And you might have to keep it a little bit suspended because you don't want to ruin your application on your pinky finger or your thumb finger. Close your bottle, place it back down. Now you're going to get ready for your top coat. One of the things that you want to remember is with the NIC for the nail technicians, you are considered done when you turn the hand around and it's facing the inspector. One of the things that you don't want to do is, if you notice something that you need to correct, is to have it turned around and decide you need to change something. The moment you do this, the service is over. So make sure that you are looking at your nails before you let the inspector know that you indicated that you were finished. So this concludes the application for manicure and polish. Okay, so now for the next client, you have 5 minutes to remove this red nail polish. So it's pretty fresh. You only did one coat of each. And the key here is make sure that you don't smear all over, because you cannot start the next client with a residual pink hand. So you want to make sure that you are doing it quick and fast. So I'm going to sanitize my hand because I'm going to get a piece of cotton. So I'm going to get a big enough cotton to make sure that I don't have to go in and out of my jar. I'm going to place it on my table and I'm going to get my polish remover. Pour it over. Close the bottle. I'm going to start with my thumb. You want to let it sit there for a few seconds. Go side by side and wipe down. Okay? Place it on the polish, side to side. Go down. I have a little bit of pink left, so I'm going to turn it over and wipe off. If for your second client, you still have polish on your hands, they do give you, on your second client service, they do give you a step to do. I try to eliminate that step and make it within my 5 minutes. So side to side and come down. Don't try to wipe up and down. So I was able to get it all. Look at the bottom of your hand. And that procedure is complete. Now for the NIC procedure, I am going to show you work area and client preparation of supplies. For my second client setup, I have 10 minutes to do this procedure, and after that we will start the setup for tip blending and sculptured nail. So first, you want to grab your paper towel and you're going to absorb the water from your bowl. That's why you don't want to put too much. I'm going to remove my lotion bottle, my cuticle remover bottle, and my water bottle. And I'm going to put those in the items to be disinfected container. I'm going to make sure all my bottles are closed and all my polishes are closed also. That goes in. I'm going to toss anything that is disposable in the trash. I'm going to put my multi-use items in my disinfected container. Now I am going to place everything on my manicuring table. My paper towel and my soiled linens go into my soiled linens bag. Once you put your towel in there, make sure your bag is closed. Place it on the table, on the floor. So now I am going to open up this paper towel that I got from the back. I'm going to place and toss this. I'm placing my paper towels on there. I'm going to start with disinfecting my back container first. Disinfect my stool and set that aside. Now, one of the things that is new for State Board, and make sure that you do this, we have to clean and sanitize everything that we touched prior. So this is my manicuring container, and now it's disinfected. My soiled container, I'm going to wipe the top. The bottom, make sure you get the bottom and the sides. My first aid kit, also known as blood exposure. My sanitizing bottle. My jars. You can use a few paper towels for that. So I'm doing my bottle. I'm going to wipe down my hand. I'm going to pick up my paper towels. And wipe down my disinfectant bottle. And disinfect my manicuring table. Toss that. Now I'm placing that back on my back table. I'm going to sanitize my hands, and now I am going to prepare for my second client. I'm going to pull out my bag. This is considered storage. So I'm taking out my second client and I'm closing my bag and pushing it under the counter. So here's my towel. This is my full paper towel. So you have your sculptured nail, which is your second to the last service, and your tip blending, which is going to be the next service. I personally brought my own acrylic brush. If you're comfortable doing that, you're more than welcome to bring your own brush. I'm going to toss this in the bag. And then I'm going to go over these two, which is a little bit extra for NIC, but I need to explain why you're using one and not the other. So that's a separate consideration. So I am going to get a full paper towel and spread out my SMA. So I have an orange wood stick, I have my adhesive, I have a little bag of cotton because I'm not going to go into my cotton jar. I'm going to place those there, toss the bag. I have my metal pusher, Q-tips, my file, nail clipper, buffer, and more Q-tips. And this is all for tip blending. Oh, and my tips, sorry. My little bag of tips. You will be, for your kit at the California Kit Company, you will have a cylinder, a circular cylinder, with 4 different sizes of tips. They rarely ask you to do the thumb, but there is a size, 4 different sizes. I'm also going to set up my sculptured nail. I have another buffer, another orange wood stick. I have my primer, my forms, more Q-tips, more cotton, and another file. Toss that in the trash. I'm going to bring back on my table my cotton jar, my polish remover, my nail dehydrator, and cuticle oil. And my hand sanitizer, and my client hand, and my acrylic brush. Okay, so now I'm going to sit down without touching the seat and wait for instructions. So the next procedure is going to be nail tip application and tip blending. With the nail tip application, you want to make sure that you don't have adhesive all over the sidewalls. That's the number one thing that they're looking for, not over usage of product. Also, what they're looking for is that you're not scraping up the sidewall with your nail files or buffers. So I'm going to begin by sanitizing my hand. I said earlier that this last client is going to be your last 3 procedures. So she's going to be your tip blending and tip application, as well as your sculptured nail and your blood exposure. So I sanitized my hands and I sanitized her hands. Moving forward after this, I don't have to sanitize the client's hands. If you feel comfortable doing that, then you're more than welcome to sanitize the client's hands as much as you want. Okay, so first we are going to remove residual product. As you can see, there isn't any, but it is a step. If you feel comfortable and it keeps you on track, you can take your polish remover and go through the motions and remove any residual polish. So now I'm going to remove the shine. The inspector is going to tell you what finger to do. So technically this is your pointer, your middle, your ring finger, and your pinky finger. They may tell you to do the thumb. It's very rare. So today I'm going to work on the ring finger. So you only have to do 1 tip blending application. So I am going to remove the shine, and I'm concentrating, and I'm moving my buffer around, making sure that I'm not scraping up the sidewall. And you have this little bit of foam. So if you see that there's the granules are, stuck in your sidewall, you can just kind of wipe them off before you remove the dust. That's just a little pro tip. I'm going to place that on the table, my SMA, and I'm going to grab a piece of cotton. I am going to remove the dust from the nail plate. And now I'm going to apply nail dehydrator. And I'm going to dehydrate the nail plate. So you'll choose your tips from a cylinder. Today I don't have a cylinder, so I'm laying out my tips, but that's not going to be necessary. I'm going to make sure that my tip fits, that it's not too big and not too small. If it's a little too big, you can go ahead and size it up. Open your adhesive. You're going to pour over your trash bag. Make sure you don't oversaturate. I always, even though it's not too much, I'm going to dab it for any excess. And then I'm just going to make sure that it's not crooked, my application's not crooked, and I'm not squeezing too much glue onto the side walls or anything like that. So you're gonna have to give it a few seconds. You have 20 minutes for this procedure. So now I'm gonna cut it to size. Make sure that when you're cutting it, they do give you a nail clipper. You're going to go on one side first and the second side on the left, and then you're going to twist it off. Make sure that you don't cut and it flies off your station, because you don't want to get up and look for it. So now I'm going to just shape it. This is another tip. Don't do stiletto or coffin nails, just file a square tip nail. That's the fastest. They're not looking for shapes and designs. So I'm doing the tip of the nail, making sure I don't scratch up the hand. You can get in there without scratching the hand, making sure that it's coming out from the side walls. The main consideration is your blending on top of the nail, and making sure that you are not scratching your client's hand. Buffing, I'm going to go with my 180 side, so I get a smooth finish at the apex of the nail, which is the natural arch. Now I'm going to go to my 100. And remember, use your sponge to remove any dust so you can touch and feel. So what they're looking for is the surrounding area of the skin is free of adhesive. So I'm going to turn my hand around, indicate that I'm done. I'm going to toss out all my disposables. And that is it. So now we're going to do the sculpture nail procedure. It is 20 minutes. Remember that this is the same client that received the tip blending, so I don't need to sanitize her hands. You can do that for an extra precautionary aspect of it, but I'm not going to do it, but I will be sanitizing my hands. Now, she indicated that she wanted me, the inspector wanted me to do the pointer finger, so that is the finger that I'll be working on for my sculptured nail. Okay. So prior to that, I do want to go over because I have to set this up right now. You have the nail technicians receive the low odor and the retention. For this procedure, you will not be allowed to use your retention, which is your fast-acting monomer. You will be using your low odor. I suggest that you practice with this because it will give you a sense of the odorless that you'll be using at State Board with California Supreme Kit Company. The ratio for low odor or odorless would be the least amount of liquid to powder. So make sure that your liquid brush is not saturated because it will take time to dry, and you'll notice that when you're practicing your practical before you take your mock board here, if it crumbles, then it was too wet and it's taking too long to dry. So I am going to fill up my dampen dish. These are the dampen dishes that you'll be getting with California Kit Supreme Company, and I will be using the low odor. And with the low odor, you can use any of the acrylic powder. Here, it's not open. So at State Board, make sure you do not fill your dampen dish, and just remember you're only using one, you're only doing one nail, so it's not necessary. I already have my powder on my other side. I'm gonna place it here. I'm gonna grab my paper towel, place that here. I'm gonna set up my workstation. The bottles that you'll be receiving for your sculptured nail procedure are very tiny, so they don't give you this size. It's actually a bottle smaller than this. It's sealed with the manufacturer's label on it. Okay, So I am now going to remove the shine from the nail plate. Wipe it with my sponge. It's like, give me 1 second. I do have to grab my glasses. Okay, so let me just sanitize my hands since I did that. Now I'm going to dehydrate the nail plate. And I'm going to I like to use this because I feel like it gives it a little bit more strength. So I'm going to place it underneath and securing bottom. I'm going to apply my primer. The primer bottle only has alcohol in it, so it's not real primer, but you can't forget this step. I'm going to prime my brush, making sure I have enough liquid. Now, we are doing the 1 to 3 ball method. You can use more than that. It's up to you, but we do have to start at the free edge. So one of the things that I do with the odorless is I give it time to set a few seconds on my brush before I apply it onto my nail form. The reason is because it will oxidate a little, and it will actually help you with applying it on the nail without dripping from side to side. You do have to do your extension long enough for it to be visible to them that you extended the nail. So it doesn't have to be super long. If it's dripping all over when you are applying, then your monomer and polymer was too wet. So I like to anchor the underneath and each time I grab that ball, I wait a few seconds. I don't blow on it, I don't do anything like that. I just let it sit for a few seconds. So another thing that they're looking for, obviously, is that you don't get your monomer liquid all over the hand, that you have control. It's all about client safety and protection. And the reason is that they're looking for product is for irritant contact dermatitis. People can become allergic to products if they get oversaturated with primers and monomer liquid. So now I'm working on my apex. And if you notice, I didn't wait too long for my apex because it has the foundation of the nail tip underneath. So it's the form where you really want to wait a few seconds before you're doing the free edge. So now I don't want to go too close because obviously this is a silicone hand. I'm going to go close enough that it looks natural, but not too close where it goes underneath the eponychium area. And you don't want to be filing that area too much, that it shows that you damaged your client's hand. So I am going to look at the tip. I can add a little bit more thickness. Gonna let it set. It has a foundation. I know where it's going to go, and I'm going to backstroke it into my apex area. The smoother you get it on, the less filing you're gonna have to do. I think for me personally, what makes it easy to work with the odorless is the fact that I'm using my personal brush. It's the quality. Okay, so now I'm gonna let that dry. So I'm gonna make sure that I don't have any acrylic on my brush. I don't want it to crystallize and get ruined. I'm gonna close my powder, and I'm going to soak up my liquid. While that's drying, so it gives you time to clean up. You're not going to use your two forms that come in there, so you might as well toss them. Anything that you don't need, and that just helps you, you know, not wait impatiently for it to dry. So a way to get this to dry quicker is you can grab your nail dehydrator bottle, which is alcohol, pour it onto your cotton, this is strong enough for me to remove that. And now I am going to speed up the process by applying the alcohol on my sculptured nail. So you want to make sure you hear the tapping. When you hear the tapping sound, it sounds like it's hard. So now it's ready to file. You want to look at all angles, just like you're doing on a regular client, to make sure that, you know, it looks like a decent nail. Make sure it's coming out from the side walls. And you'll be getting full-length files with California Kit Company. Making sure you're not scraping up the eponychium area. If you thought it was dry and it wasn't, and it's actually crumbling instead of creating fine particles, then you can, get a Q-tip with some nail dehydrator, which is alcohol, and then just reapply it. If your nail tip fell off while you were filing and you still have your nail adhesive, and if you can, and if you're pretty much done but it actually has fallen off, which has happened, if you can, try gluing it on. You don't have to polish it or anything like that, but things do happen. I could be filing really quick and just hit it in the wrong angle and then it pop off. So just make sure that you are, if it doesn't fall on the floor. So if you have time to redo it, then you can. Remember what I said, use your sponge to remove dust. Toss that. This is an option. You can put oil. You don't have to put oil. You can get your paper towel and just make sure you wipe off all the particles. So I'm going to indicate that I'm done. And that's it for sculptured nail. Now, I have pretty much removed everything that I needed to as far as my disposables. Now I'm going to do my blood exposure, which is untimed. I'm going to get my first aid kit. So this first aid kit serves as two purposes. I have my gloves and I have my blood exposure bag. That's what makes this kit different, because this is for this specific procedure. So I can place that back there. Now, the inspector is going to indicate that the thumb has been injured and that none of your working area, your sanitary working area has been exposed to blood. So the client has been cut, nothing else has been contaminated. So she tells you, you may begin. You're gonna put on your gloves. This is why I recommend that you do not have long nails when you go to state board, because if you pop a hole through your glove because your nails are too long, then and you don't have more than one glove, you might be marked down for that. Open your blood exposure bag. Remove the contents of the alcohol pad, and you're going to wipe your client's finger. You'll open up your Band-Aid. As I'm doing that, the alcohol is drying. And now I'm going to put my Band-Aid on my injury. I'm going to place that over there. I'm going to roll my gloves onto each other to make sure that I do not have any exposed blood. And the main thing about blood exposure is making sure you understand the procedure and actually sealing it and tossing it in the trash. So I'm going to indicate that I'm done, and she's gonna say, okay, you may, the testing is finished, and you may clean up. This concludes the practical NIC for the manicuring program. Now, I want to go over a few things that you need to know about before you arrive to your state board. You must bring a current valid passport or ID, government issued. Do not leave the examination without permission. Candidates are required to bring a kit for their use. We use California Kit Company. You'd be getting your kit prior to your arrival or after your written examination. Candidates are evaluated at all times, so make sure that you are doing your procedures according to the health, safety, infection control. Verbal instructions will be read twice for each section of the examination. They will have you read as they are reading the instructions out loud. Candidates will be given time to set up universal supplies that they will use for the examination. Each section of the examination has a maximum time allowance, except for those specified untimed sections. During all phases of the examination, candidates must follow all appropriate public protection infection control procedures and maintain a safe work area. So that means if you spill anything, if you drop anything, grab a paper towel, pick it up, throw it in the trash, and sanitize your hands. And then continue. The following provides examples of materials and actions that are prohibited during the examination. You cannot bring cell phones, pagers, tablets, computer, cameras, electronic devices, recording devices, exhibiting disruptive behavior, and communicating to other candidates or any examiner. The examiner will not answer any questions. They will basically tell you to do as you were taught at school. There are 6 domains that we covered that I covered in the practical examination, which was work area and client preparation and setup of supplies, manicure and polish, work area and new client preparation, nail tip application and blending, sculptured nail and blood exposure. So, good luck. I have faith in you, and you'll do really well.